disciplined, selfish.
No joke. We're legitimate.
Fucking do this, then do it. Do it 100%, because I'm trying to.
We recognize that we are limitless.
You gotta be a champion to become a champion, right? Winning is a habit because we create habits that lead to good execution and success.
Happy Monday, everyone. We hope you all had a good weekend. Tonight, we have someone that I knew we would have on eventually, and I'm glad we finally landed this interview. A former member of San Diego Dynasty, former coaching staff of Baltimore Revo, and later staff during the 2025 rebrand to Arsenal, and now the head coach of Perris ASG Aftermath. Aftermath is coming off an improved performance at this past Mid-Atlantic Open, where they made Sunday on a wild card bid with their 2-2 record. This is a 5-point jump from the first event of the year where they placed 15th. This is where most people were accustomed to seeing them. They never broke 15th place all last year, taking 18th for the season. They had a moment in 2024 where they took 4th at the first event of the season and then never finished higher than 14th the rest of the season. So what's different about Aftermath this year? It could be too early to tell if there is anything different, but one can't deny that this team practices quite often, and more than likely you can assume they have built a very solid chemistry together. Couple that with the new coach I was mentioning at the beginning of all of this, and you could very well have a recipe for some significant success. Tonight's guest is none other than Rich Opie Loughran, and we are going to talk to him about how he ended up with Aftermath, his vision for them, his processes, and his outlook for the team in the future. So stick around, like and subscribe. I'm Coach Mike Bianca of the Atlanta Jungle Cats, along with my friend and co-host Ryan Gray, coach of Red Legion. And this is episode 114 of The Coaches Show. The Coaches Show is brought to you by our awesome sponsors, Max Sportswear. Charles at Max Sportswear has what your team and pit crew need. All sorts of soft good options you can check out, from jerseys to pants, gloves, and even packs. He'll work with you and your team to get you what you need. So get maxed. You won't be disappointed. BKI, the best knowledge in paintball. Sign up at bkipaintball.com and start learning from the pros instantaneously. Your own mini clinic right there on your computer screen or phone at home. Go to bkipaintball.com and sign up today. And our newest sponsor, Virtue. Virtue specializes in premium quality paintball gear designed and used by the pros. Their products range from goggles, loaders, packs, and a whole lot more. Head on over to virtuepb.com after the show. Also, keep a lookout as we will be announcing special deals on Virtue products just for the Coaches Show audience. That's right, only you. Virtue, built to win. All right. Man, I got through it, Ryan.
Great intro.
Well, so
great intro.
Yeah, well, I'm looking forward to this conversation.
We
were already having a really good conversation in the green room, and we got caught up. We're a little late because we were having a good conversation about certain metrics and concepts and expectations heading into matches, and I really wanted to continue that conversation. Hopefully we'll get to it when we get into the conversation with Opie here in just a moment.
Yeah, and I kind of mentioned, after the pre-show of the first event, the ASG looked different, right? Like they had a continuity to the way they were playing that before seemed to be much more lackluster, right? Like the group seemed like they would kind of have what I like to call a 10-second play, where they go out and they know what they're doing for kind of 10 seconds. And after that, it kind of stopped, right? Now it looks like they have a much more well-rounded picture of what the whole play should look like. They're all playing together well. They look more confident. And I think that all of those are a byproduct of a solid coach, right? When you have somebody that can put all the pieces together in a meaningful way, describe exactly what's supposed to happen. If we go here, this should pull this gun, and so on and so forth, and helps to draw that picture in the mind's eye of the player. It really creates a ton of confidence in the players. And you can see that in the way that they're playing on the field. Looks like we lost Mike for a second, but
I'm still here. I just lost my video.
Okay. But nonetheless, like when I saw Opie I was standing over watching, I don't know if that was during the 3-on-3 or during semi-pro, but I was standing over at the semi-pro fields and saw Opie and walked over and said, "Hey man, we'd love to get you on the show. Like as soon as this thing's over." And kind of right away, he was like, "Yeah, man, I'm in. So just let me know." And I was like, "How about 2 weeks from now?" So here we are, really excited to have Opie. So let's get him in. Opie, Mike, if you want to drop out.
That's what I'm going to do.
Yep. Go ahead. Opie, welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man. Thank you for being here. Yeah. And again, appreciate the time. Like, this thing that Mike and I do is literally just an opportunity for us to pick the brain of other coaches and hopefully help some of the others try to, emulate and steal ideas. We also try to give away social media handles, that kind of thing. So if people want to reach out to you, they can do that. So, we're just trying to create more resources for coaches. As you know, there are none. So,
yeah, I love that. I mean, just resources in general for the paintball community, I think is great. And, it's funny because it's not something that I really, I haven't dealt with I haven't coached any divisional teams, right? But I know that a lot of people do coach divisional teams. And I recently had some divisional teams kind of reach out to me, like the coaches from divisional teams, and asking my opinion on stuff. And when you do one thing, you don't really think about the rest of kind of the sport, right?
mm-hmm.
If you're the head coach for the Lakers, like you're not worried about high school basketball, probably, maybe, but for me, it wasn't really something that I've thought about in a while, as far as like, how do you take a team from Division 4 to Division 3 to Division 2 up to the high levels. And you absolutely need a good coach if you're gonna compete at a high level, right? So the fact that you guys are doing this to where it's accessible, where beforehand there wasn't really somewhere for people to go to get that information or learn how to how to be a coach in this industry, right?
Yeah. Thanks for that. Let's kind of jump right in, man. So you obviously, most people know you from your days with Dynasty. So let's I don't want to skip over that, of course, but you went from being a championship level player. You went away for several years, and then we started seeing you around a few years ago, kind of around the, at that point, I think it was Revo, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it was still Revo. So kind of talk to us about like how your playing career came to an end, and then what were we doing for the 10 or so years? And then how'd you get back?
Yeah. So, Dynasty was my family. Then it was my life. Right. And I think at some point, like for me, I felt like I had to have something that wasn't just reliant on this small group, right? And just like everyone that moves on from the sport, it's okay. I'm gonna do. I have these other things that bring value to my life that I'm interested in, right? And at that time, there was a reason that we were the best team. That was our life, and obviously, as you know, with Red Legion, they have a similar, kind of similar viewpoint, and things definitely change. At that point, I felt like if I wasn't able to commit 100% of my time to this team, then I'm doing a disservice. Now that may or may not be right or correct. Maybe it's, what percentage you really put on it. But that was how I felt. Like if I'm going to continue with this, I have to commit 100%. right?
Mhm.
So I just felt like I had other things that I wanted to pursue. You know, still loved paintball, still loved everyone on the team. And and then life happens, right? I started a few different businesses that ended up requiring, all my time, and once you kind of step away from something, it's easy to stay away, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't like I wasn't like, oh, I don't want to have any involvement in paintball. It was just you have to put that intention back there in order to really do it, right?
Mhm.
And especially I felt, for me, I was like, what does it matter if I'm not really putting effort into something? Like, I would show up to an event here or there, play some 10-man events. But if I'm not going to put intention and also be at the point where I'm really enjoying what I'm doing at the same time, then there's not really any point to it. So with that, yeah, I took probably 10 years off where, I talked to people in paintball, all the people I was close with. I kept those relationships. And I was I still really enjoyed the game and would play here, play here and there, some fun events. And Tom Ford called me when he got involved with Baltimore Revo, and he said, look, I would love if you could come just help out in whatever capacity, right? No pressure. Um, I thought, that would be something that I would at least entertain, right? So I went out, and I didn't know a single person on the Revo team. And I was like, this is not going to work out for me. Like, I am not trying to tell people that don't even know who I am, have never met me in their life. I'm not going to try to come in and just start telling these people what to do, right?
Sure.
But we after a few days, I was like, you know what, actually, these are good guys. There's a ton of talent, and there are some things that I immediately see missing that that if I could just give a little perspective, it might help them. If it does, great. If not, then I can go away, fade back into
Right.
into obscurity, right? And yeah, they what I had to offer, I think, whether it impacted, it wasn't something that I wasn't worried about results based effect or improvement. It was, do these people want my my perspective or advice, right?
Totally.
And for the most part, it was it was the entire time, it was a positive experience. And while I never head coached them, right, but I felt like I was able to add something to the program. So for me, and I got to see people that, for the most part, I didn't see on a consistent basis. And I started, seeing these people and getting back in the industry and kind of getting that love back. Right. So that was the biggest part of, that kind of 2.5, 3 years with, Revo and then Arsenal.
Was there something during that 10-year hiatus that you feel really prepared you for the new role? Or did you just come in with those guys? You obviously have the bug. You've stayed in touch with the industry. You were in the industry for so long, and it just happened organically. Or do you think there was something specifically that wired you in that 10 years off that kind of prepped you for this?
I mean, honestly, that's a really good question, because there's, people think that if you are not doing one specific thing every day, you and not everyone, but you could you lose your edge or something, right?
Mhm.
Or you can't do this and then come back into that, right? And the thing, just to bluntly answer your question, it's maturity.
Yeah.
So that was what I'm like. First off, I played plenty of X-ball. Played a lot of X-ball in my life. Was still around. It's a very similar, like everything was very similar except for very, some minor rules and stuff like that. But as far as the overall game, I was still fully prepared as far as whether it's strategy, gameplay, how to kind of, navigate your, the players that you have available to, again, going back to, I think maturity and experience is being able to handle, handle the situation, whatever the situation is, in the best way, or the best way possible that you can. It is, I think, super important. What I saw the very first event, actually, I saw it multiple times, but with Revo we were playing damage, right? I know probably 75% of the damage guys, not one Revo guy, and with it in I'd given maybe 5 just kind of key things that I saw about the field, right? And we came out and we're beating damage, right? We ended up losing the match by a point, but I was like, these guys that literally, I was like, they should be blown off the field, and they competed, and they had a lot of talent, and they played well. And if those critical moments, if they had handled that a little bit better, it would have been a different result, and people would have been like, holy shit, this team just beat, and they had just gotten a new coach too, Mike Jeffrey, who hadn't, he had coached some of the guys in semi-pro before they were on Revo, but he wasn't somebody that anybody was giving any respect to as far as going into that event, right? So yeah, I think maturity and experience is huge for, especially when it comes to coaching.
Yeah. 100% agree.
Excellent answer.
Yeah. So let's kind of jump forward now to Aftermath. So how did that come about?
Well, I mean, that was literally out of left field for me. So as everyone knows, we had, it was Arsenal last year. You had, Tom Four and I are great friends, right? So anything he needs from me, I'm gonna do my best to be
silence
there.
Your phone.
Fine.
Your best to silence your phone.
I'm gonna try. Here, hang on once.
No problem.
I always have to mute mine before the show as well, because
I didn't.
I forget sometimes.
Some people think that it's okay to, hey, ask him this, or
All right, I'm just
making
gonna.
sure mine's muted.
1 second. I am sorry, guys.
No, it's all good.
All right. Here we go. Okay. That should fix it.
All right. So you and Tom Four are good friends, and the Aftermath thing came out of left field.
Yeah. So, okay. So, everyone knows that kind of Arsenal and Tauntauns had kind of a merger similar to the FSU Tauntauns, right? And then a few guys moved over to Dynasty, and then Tom's kind of, doing Tom stuff, and I was excited that there was some, kind of some connection with Dynasty again, right? So I was like, okay, well, I'll just go over there, and just like I had done with Arsenal, it's it's fine. I have no pressure. I can add value where I can add value, and also be around people that I care about, right? So that was kind of that was my plan for this year. And I was at the first practice of the year with Dynasty in San Diego, and Aftermath called me, and they said, what would you think about coaching Aftermath? And I said, well, I haven't thought about it, and I am very content with kind of how my year is going to look, right? So it's not really something that I'm thinking about. And they were like, well, would you think about it? And, I don't know, is there some way we can make this work? And I was like, well, look, I know what's here with Dynasty, and while I've known the Aftermath brand since it was started, I don't know all the aspects of it. I just know that, I don't want to be like the fixer upper. Like that's not in my. It wasn't something that was exciting for me to be like, okay, I have all these things that I have to worry about, and I have to fix this, and if it doesn't work, then it's on me. And I had a lot of questions, right? But there were a couple people on the team that I trusted their, kind of their viewpoint. So I spoke to them and kind of asked them some deep questions, like, look, is this what you guys want as a team? Do you want, like, are you going to commit to basically what I need to feel comfortable with being a part of the team? Because I don't want to come out here and be a failure. I'm not afraid of failing, but I felt like if I'm not, the biggest thing was, do you guys, is what I'm going to bring going to help the team or not? Because at some level, that is what is important and makes a difference, right? Like if what I'm telling you is not getting across, right? Because I felt like, to be honest, the way that they were playing paintball over the last 2 years, it felt like they had kind of like their mindset. This is how the game is, right? Mm-hmm. And I never want to be in a mindset of this is how we have to play the game, whether it's player based. Like we don't have the roster to be able to do this, right? And unfortunately, like we saw that this we saw that this event with a couple teams where they just didn't have the roster to do certain things, right? Like if you don't have the players, then what you do as a coach doesn't have as much of an effect, right? I'm not saying you can't help out, but I was just to put it bluntly, every answer that I asked them, I was like, wow, I am really surprised that I got that answer, and this is actually something that I could work with. So they told me basically in that they were, they had to have a coach because they hadn't had a real coach for a year, right? That they could really count on, and that would be there for the season for them and would really have their back and want and care about their improvement and results, right? I think improvement is probably the biggest thing, right? So if you have like, and really building that culture too. And I think, probably from what I saw over the last couple of years, it could have been very coach based issues, right? Like, okay, you guys are doing, this is what happens every match. We play well and then lose by 1 point to good teams, right? And we come out with kind of lackluster game plans or game plans that aren't great, that everyone sees like, oh, that's not going to work, right? And you do it in the worst in those moments that matter, right? So I think I kind of had maybe a preconceived notion, like I don't want to deal with getting kind of people questioning me when feel like I'm doing the best thing for the team. And I'm not talking about like, I think it's a belief at team wide, right? Like in the players around you, in yourself, in your coach, in, same for me in the players, right? You have to really have everyone buy in, or it's not going to work out, and it's not going to be fun for the entire year. Maybe it works for an event, maybe it works for 2 events, but to really have that continuity across the board is super important. And I got the answers that I was that surprised me, and I was like, okay, I could work with this. And for me at that point, I felt like, and I was with all the Dynasty guys, and they're like, look, this, we think this would be a good opportunity for you. Everyone gave me their blessing, which was super positive. I love that. And when I made the decision, I really felt like, you know what, I think I have a team here that will buy in with the whole program, right? Not just me, but these are people here that love paintball and want to be the best that they can at paintball, and they know what's ahead of them. It's not like, oh, this is going to be easy and we're just going to go out and win paintball tournaments, right? So that's something that I really like. It really kind of, I vibed with and was like, all right, fuck it. Well, let's take a jump. Let's do this. I'm in for the year. So I know.
Do you have any light on that boat?
I know.
We're starting to lose you. Blending into the night sky.
Here, let's. Oh no,
that'll work.
Oh,
right, that'll work. Yeah,
I like it.
It's awesome.
Perfect. Yeah.
Just so you guys know, Opie is struggling down in Miami on a boat. So
on a boat, it's terrible. It's just absolutely terrible.
He's going to send up the flare anytime for someone to come help.
But both Ryan and I offered to come down to save him if he was needed.
If you hear SOS, you know what's going on.
Well, Opie, it sounds like, you put a lot of thought into it. And I certainly understand, going from, this team that you spent a lot of time with, Arsenal, Revo, and then coming back home, it feels like, with Dynasty and having an opportunity there. And then here's this team, right, that you're weighing it. You're like, is this going to be, am I what they need, right? Or am I an excuse? Am I some kind of cog in the wheel? I get that. I understand that. So when you got there, and you had that. What was the first thing you did when you got with Aftermath, like that first practice?
I mean, the first thing I just wanted to get to know the players, right? I mean, the first day of practice, you know, we all know when you're practicing not on like a layout practice, or sometimes there's some weird layouts, right? And so you for me, I want to know what like what are my weapons? What is my what do I have to work? What am I going into this fight with? Right. So it was really getting to know the players, and is where can I utilize these guys the best? And it, you know, and that's something that takes time, but that was kind of my first priority, right? It was, okay, what is this guy good at? And maybe there's certain things that this guy is really good at that he doesn't even really recognize that he's good at, right? So the first day I was really just trying to kind of set a culture as far as like, this is how things are going to be. And I'm not a micromanager. I'm not someone that's like, if you show up at 8:01 instead of 8:00, I'm not yelling at you. I'm not cussing you out. Right. But at the same time, like, we're adults. If I say I'm going to do this, then be prepared to do that, or there will be consequences at the end of the day. So as long as I think for me, I was focusing on maturity level, willingness to learn, and really more than anything, being a team player, right? That's huge. So the first, and I'm still learning all two events in, I'm learning, right? But I think that was kind of my priority was figuring those simple things out, so that when it comes to, okay, this is the game plan that I want to do, where do I put this person? Where do I feel most comfortable with that person? And can I trust this person? And you never want to go in questioning, having those questions, but you still have to, if you've had someone on your team for 3 years, those types of things about them. Someone that you've never met, you're like, well, yeah, maybe I can, maybe I can't. So let's watch you for a day and see how see how you handle adversity. I think probably more than anything.
Yeah. So a couple things you said that I thought were really interesting. One, you were kind of talking a little bit about some doubt, right? As you started talking about the decision to go to Aftermath, there's some doubt there. Like, am I the rebuild guy? Am I the guy that can take this, really at that point struggling group and be the turnaround guy, right? And then you go in sort of with a litmus for everything, right? You're testing culture, you're laying some minimal kind of expectation and ground rules for expectation, and then trying to figure out, like, the in my opinion, one of the hardest but easiest things we do as coaches is, like, where does a guy play, right? Like, right. And I see this all the time when I do clinics. You'll see a kid who's playing in the snake, and then you run a drill where he's on the Dorito side, and you're like, you're on the wrong side of the field, kid. Like, you should be over here. Like, I don't know why you're playing over there. I think it's just because you're small and fast, and so probably somebody said you should play the snake, and that's where you ended up. But you should be over here. This is where you're at. Which again is like, it's a tough thing to do, especially at professional level. And depending on what the team, like with us, we have specialists, right? Mm-hmm. Rarely are you going to see Karslev break out on the snake side. We've done it, but it's just not something you're going to see very often. Sasha Malloy is not going to break out on the snake, on the Dorito side. just not something you're really going to see. It just doesn't happen.
Yep.
We're probably never going to send Kirill to the snake off the break. It's just not going to happen, right? We have more specialists, right? But then you have teams like Dynasty, right, where the guys kind of play all over the place. They don't really have, other than Archie Barnes and maybe Mike for the most part, they really don't have specialists. They have guys that kind of float around all over the place. So what is like the one specific thing that you changed when you got there that you were like, okay, this can't happen anymore? Or whether it's part of the culture or play style, what is the one thing that you kind of changed right away?
So right off the bat, I saw that they had the talent and ability to play good paintball, right? So with that, then it was, okay, what was the issue that, that I saw the most with them that needs to be fixed? Because as far as a group, they can play good paintball. So it was that they were losing these close points or these close matches, right? So when you lose close matches, it's not like you're playing bad throughout the match. It's the end of the match. You're not closing that out, right? And what I saw a lot of times too was how there was doubt within a match. Like, how do we adjust and not having that confidence, right? You have to have, I think you have to have that confidence as a team that, okay, we're down points, we can come back. We're up points, we can hold the lead, right? And I think at the end, there were a couple matches last year that I saw there was a lot of turmoil during the matches, right? So I felt like if everyone can stay composed during the match, and whatever is happening around us in the match, if we can make good decisions and follow and not let those things affect us, then that will probably have the largest immediate effect on how the team plays.
Yeah. So mindset. Yeah. Love that. Yeah. And that's actually one of the next questions I was going to ask, and then I'm going to stop and let Mike jump in. But I kind of said this even after the first event, but saw it even more in Dover. And I think this is maybe what you were alluding to. And it's the difference between confidence and hope, right? You see teams go out, break out, and they're hoping that things go well, right? They're hoping. It's like, okay, I made it to my spot. I, did my job off the break. I'm going to get into this gunfight, or I'm going to watch this zone, and I'm hoping things go well. Whereas it looks like now Aftermath is playing with confidence instead of hope. Like the team has had a little bit of a shift. And again, I don't know if that's attributed to methodology, play calling, where they really understand holistically kind of the play A to Z and what it's supposed to look like. What is the difference? Like, do you feel that difference, or is it something that you guys have been working on in the practices?
I 100% feel the difference. I mean, just how the team just overall is playing the entire game, right? And just like what you say, you can say, okay, well, we hope we win the breakout, and we hope we shoot somebody, and we hope we win a gunfight, or we hope we get down here and they don't notice us crawling down the snake, and we hope we win this point, and then we hope that the other team fucks up, and we hope that we win a match.
Right.
Right. So I really feel that actually, like, really quickly, I think one of the like probably the second practice, I really saw that ability to, like, where the team could come together, and they were getting it right. Now you have to be consistent, but at least I saw that, I saw that ability. It's like, Steph Curry coming up shooting like a crazy 3, and you're like, all right, okay, that was luck, right? And then he does the same thing, and they're like, wait, okay. So, and then, you know, stuff like that builds. And I think that little by little you see the confidence and trust, you know, trust building. And it, you know, it's the tough thing, I think, for a coach, especially, right? Like, you love when you see it all come together, right?
Yeah,
Light bulb.
the best.
Yep. The light bulb.
The best.
And then you see something different, and you're like, no, right? In your mind, like,
Right.
You're like, you just keep doing more of this and getting better at that, and like, we're good, right? But, you know, obviously you have really good paintball players and paintball teams on the other side, right?
Yes.
So
Yeah.
that's what you have to deal with. And it, you know, the little things turn into big things, right? And I think for me, that was, you know, even though we didn't make Sunday in the first event, obviously that's always number one goal, right? Make Sunday, and then you have your new goals, right? We had a very tough bracket, but there's never any excuses. The fact is, you're going to be playing tough teams the entire weekend. So, and I was really, really proud of how, you know, how the guys performed in Tampa for, you know, 98% of the time we were there, and we made some mistakes, right? As a team. But I really felt like throughout the time that I started with Aftermath, which was only, I don't know, a month and 2 months before Tampa, I felt like there was so much growth, and them really turning those little things and putting them all together, and executing and making it be something that actually made a difference.
Yeah.
Nice.
Love that. Great answer.
Me too.
Yeah. And it's, sorry, Mike, I just wanted to say, I said this too in our post show after Tampa. I was like, you know, Aftermath, you guys played us really tough. Like, it was, when we'd play Aftermath in the past, like the year before, I think we played Aftermath 4 times during the 2025 season. And like, they might win a point or two early in the match, but then there was like no adjustment, no change. And then it would just kind of steamroll into this, or snowball into this like mistake fest, right? Where now they're playing way behind and trying to do things that are not probably going to work. But man, they like, every point was tough, right? It wasn't like any of those points were, you know, like a steamroll of us running down the field and shooting everybody. It was like every point was a tough point. There were no gimmies. So yeah, kudos to you. Sorry, Mike.
No, you didn't. No, you absolutely. The stream of thought that you're taking it is we could probably stay on that for several hours. I guess what I wanted to do is I wanted to get, in your opinion, Opie, how much of winning is preparation versus in-game adaptation in paintball? And let me frame that up. Can confidence be coached, or does it only come from experience? It's just kind of throwing that out there real quick, because I thought your answers were very interesting and from the mentality perspective, and I just kind of wanted to dive into that a little bit. Yeah,
you know, that is honestly, like, for me, that is such a such kind of a loaded question. I could talk about this for
it is a little bit,
right? So obviously, I mean, preparation's huge, right? Having the right game plan, whether it's strategy, you know, you have strategy, you have breakout, you have little things that you can adjust and focus on, as well as also, okay, what do we think the other team is going to be doing, right? And then are we talking about a specific point? Are we talking about situationally with time? Are we talking about the overall meta, if you want to call it, of how the game's going to play out, right? Mm-hmm. So you have all those things that you have to be aware of before the game point, whatever, before the buzzer goes off. That's what you have to consider, all of that, right? Then once the game starts, I mean, for me, the ability to adjust in game, whether it's a single player, whether it's, I mean, ideally it would be the entire team adjusting together, communicating, and knowing the biggest thing. What I try to implement is, how do we get to a point where we're not overthinking, but if if something happens in a game, you immediately know what to do without having to communicate, get a response back, confirm, 10 seconds in a critical moment of the game is all it takes, right? So how do we have kind of, at what point do you stop being analytical, right? Or not analytical, but kind of like rules based, right? Like,
okay, yeah.
We could go all the way down to, like, you could say, okay, if we have a 4-on-3, right? And they're in these 3 spots. This is what we do, right? Mm-hmm. Well, what if they're in 3 different, like, there's so many options, and there's no point in even going into all of that. So you have to really break it down to kind of a basic level where where it automatically clicks, like, okay, I'm not worried that this person's in this exact spot. We already know what, like, where we need to be that causes this spot issue.
There it is. Yeah.
So as long as we're causing this spot an issue, and we know we have the overall understanding of the game of how to close out, then we can adjust to many different situations and handle it without having to have too much conversation about it, right? And
ultimately that's how you coach confidence.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
You give them the knowledge on how to approach a layout.
Yeah.
Hey, we know that if we see specific scenarios, we know what to do.
Yeah.
Right. So they believe in themselves. Was there a specific match or moment in Dover where you realized the team was clicking or turned a corner or was starting to, buy in?
I'll be honest with you. Our bracket in Dover was easier than in Tampa. I felt like how we were playing, we should have beaten Hurricanes. I felt like we played damage really well in Dover. It really helped us that the fact is, we had morning bracket. You didn't really have to think about, when you have afternoon bracket and you're 0-2 going into Sunday, you're thinking a little bit more like, okay, so where is that, like, what is that number, right? Like, as far as, before it was the margin, right? And now we have, okay, you just have to win. You have to win a lot of points, right? But then, what do you do? What happens if the match isn't going how you need to? Then are you playing that, okay, we just need to, we need to win one more point, so whatever we need to do? Or is it we need to win? Obviously, if you're 0-2, you have to win both matches on Sunday anyways. But I felt like in the morning it's easier because you're not, the guys on the team aren't thinking about possibilities, right? We have to go out and win these 2 matches.
Yeah.
And for me as a coach, it makes it easy when there's not margin you have to worry about. You need to win points, right? So for me, without even saying anything to the guys, obviously they know, look, if we can go win this point, go win it. Don't sit around and play. We're not playing margin game today. We're going out and just winning points. So, Saturday they played excellent. And I was like, I wouldn't change anything as far as I felt like our strategy was good. I felt like people were making the right decisions. I thought they were playing very good team paintball. And unfortunately, when it comes to Sunday, you have no margin for error, right? Like we had already made our errors on Friday, and now you have Sunday, which is completely different paintball. It's twice as tough as, playing Sunday as playing any matches on Friday or Saturday, no matter who you're playing. You just have to improve upon whatever your best paintball was on Friday or Saturday. You have to be better on Sunday.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think, that's something that comes with experience, but also I'm super proud with how we played all Friday. And then we were behind the behind the 8 ball going into Saturday, when I felt like we should have been 1-1 on Friday and had at least not that pressure on Saturday. What I was really worried about, having that pressure and being like, we have to go 2-0 today or we have no chance, right? So the fact that they played how they played on Saturday, I was like, okay, you had a pressure situation and came out of it and performed extremely well. So
Excellent. Okay.
Answer. Yes, but you talked a little bit about the brackets, and I do think obviously your bracket at the last event was less challenging. But when's the last time Aftermath mercy ruled a team?
Right.
I probably never.
And you mercy ruled back-to-back teams, right? And leverage, though not playing well at the last event, they're a good team.
Right.
They're a good team. They just struggled. I thought they would kind of turn it around on Saturday, but that did not happen.
Yeah.
But looking at the way you guys kind of handled Aftershock, playing at about a 205 pace per point, looked again like just very controlled, not allowing their chaos, the things Aftershock was throwing at you to create problems, which I think in the past it would have, right? It would have been a little bit of an issue. So now, sort of looking forward into the next event, you guys have Edmonton in another really hard bracket, right? Yeah. Impact, X Factor, Uprising, and then NYX. But those top 3 teams are no joke, right?
Not at all. This is why you have to you have to take every opportunity when you are a tier 4 or a tier 5 team. Any opportunity that is given to you, you have to capitalize on it so you can get up to the next tier, right? Like,
right.
Makes all the difference. It's and that's how it should be. Right. You should benefit for playing good paintball. Like, I'm not complaining. I'm just like, I'm gonna make. I know we have a super tough bracket, and I'm like, I'm gonna do everything I can and put all my effort in. So hopefully we can, have an even better tournament this time. And look, if we break into the I feel like if we break into the top 3 tier, right, or third tier, right, because we're in tier 4 right now. We got to get in the top or third tier. It's gonna be problems for people. And I feel like we're like, okay, we should be in. It's guaranteed Sunday every time is how I feel, right? And from there, then it's one step into tier 2, and then it's like now it's like, oh wow, this should really be easy, right? And obviously not easy in that sense, but it takes a lot. Like it really makes things, kind of gives you your path to where, especially as a coach, you don't have to worry about your players as much. Like, what's their mindset going to be going into this match, right?
Right.
Especially a match like, okay, you say, if you have a team that's hasn't beaten a team in 2 years and you're playing them, right? Now, like, as the coach, you're trying to instill confidence and be like, look, guys, like, we have a good game plan. You guys are playing good paintball. You guys are communicating well. You guys are individually making the right decisions. So don't, and I get it. Like, we've seen this so much. Like, some players really internalize things, and they can be seem outwardly very confident. And I'm not even talking about my team. It's just something that I consider as dealing with players. It's okay, is what really is like this confidence level of like, am I going into this match really with 100% full belief that that if we do the right things, we're going to beat this team, right? We all know if you're playing a good team and you make mistakes, you're going to lose. You have to own those mistakes when it happens. But knowing that, okay, we have the absolute ability to go in and compete and win this match, that makes a huge difference. And even that percentage difference of this is our bracket compared to this is our bracket, I think, mindset wise, and especially going into Sunday, when you've played a lot of paintball, layout weekend, 3-man practice, tournament, and then now you throw in some, people are sore and tired, and they didn't get, they had a bad night's sleep, and then all of a sudden it's Sunday and you're like, and the energy's gone, right? Like, you want the energy to be there, but it's just not. There's so many little things that affect the game and the tournament. And and I think just also having labels in paintball, right? In any sport, if you have the first place trophy, you're the best, right? So you always want that. And it also it goes across the board. Like, nobody wants to see themselves in a bracket tier 5. Like, that's a fact. If you're in tier 5, you're like we suck. That's what the people on the team say, is like what's going on, guys? Like, we need to, we're tier 5, right? And so you always want to be improving and moving up. And I think that's my goal for the entire season for this team. So,
yeah. Good. Mike?
Well, I was just, that's the tremendous goal, right? To constantly improve, right? That's logical. And, so in your mind, what is the ceiling for Aftermath? What is the ceiling for this group if they stay committed to the process and the direction that you're steering them? What do you think it is?
I mean, the talent's there. They have the fact that they all have the ability to play with each other all the time. That, I think, alone gives them a huge ceiling. Now, I think it'll take some time. There's, on one hand, you have a group of people that, that really care about paintball. And on the other hand, you have kind of a mixed bag as far as experience on the top level. Like, none of them really have a lot of experience at the highest level of pro paintball when it comes to, okay, we're playing, we have the belief that we're going to be playing in finals every event, right?
Yeah.
I absolutely believe they have the talent and ability to get there, but that's the thing that you can never make happen overnight. And I don't care who you are or what team you have. Like, we see this time and time again, that it's not just let's throw some good players together and get good results, right? So, with that being said, I have all the belief. I just don't have the answer on this is when it will happen. I would love to say next event we're 10th this event. I would love to say next event we're 6, 7, 5, in that, right? And then the event after that, it's top 4, and then the event after that, it's top 2, and then so whatever.
We all know that's not how it works.
Right. Yeah. Right.
It's
true.
It's hard, dude.
It is very hard.
Yeah. So
I mean, the reality is, once you get to where you are right now, right at 10th place, where you guys just finished, everything above that is really hard.
Yeah.
There's no game that you play with any of those top 10 teams where you're like, yeah, we've got a 90% chance. That's not how it works. Like, every one of those games is a grind, right? Yeah. Every one of them. You said something too I wanted to touch on, because I think it's important for our listeners. On Sunday morning, I can tell the mentality of the team by asking if I can grab a water or something out of their cooler, and I see how much water and snacks they have. It tells me if they're prepared to have a long Sunday or a short Sunday, right? Like, if I go look and they've got there's a pack of 20 waters in there and 4 granola bars, I'm like, they're planning to have a short Sunday. They're planning on this being the 9 o'clock exit, right? So and I only say that kind of jokingly, because I do think it's important that playing on Sunday there's a lot of habits that occur, right? And then the deeper you go, those habits, as long as they're good habits, they continue to manifest to success, right? So I don't think this is the last time we'll see Aftermath on a Sunday, and hopefully it becomes okay, the first part of it's now habit, right? We're going to be a 3-1 team. We're going to make Sunday. We know we're going to make Sunday. We're going to be either in that 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock game, and then we're going to play a really good team, and we're going to get over that hump, and then now we're into the next round, So, because there are specific things that occur. Every team who goes deep has a process between the matches. There's a lot of activity that's occurring that we're prepared for at 6 a.m., right? We're prepared for a long Sunday. We want to be there until 5 o'clock, right? Because that means it was a really good day or a pretty good day.
Absolutely. And I mean, that's something that I've always said, I don't know what you are thinking booking a 2 or 3 p.m. flight on Sunday for the event. I'm like, wait, so if we make Sunday, then you change your flight. That's your thought process. I'm like, how are you even thinking that way? Your flight should be okay, when I win this tournament, then this is what I'm going to do, and then this is when I need to fly out. And then if something else happens, then you adjust the other way, right? So it's the same.
Always Monday, right? I'm always flying out on Monday because I feel like I'm having a good steak dinner on Sunday night. I'm going to crash for 10 to 12 hours, and I'm going to fly home sometime on Monday.
Absolutely.
Perfect.
Mike, you want to get into some of these questions from the audience?
Yeah, I wanted to jump in and then I've got a couple of questions about his current roster that I wanted to kind of close out with.
Let's do that first.
Oh, you want to? Okay.
If you want. Yeah.
I thought so. The addition, you know what? This actually translates well into one of the questions I was going to ask. And I was going to ask about, who do you think right now is the hardest working player on your roster? And there was a question in the chat as well, where our friend, there you go, from In the Pits Paintball, that's podcast, that's Christian. Coach, how has the addition of Devin Stewart's experience and seniority helped the trajectory of the squad? Now, I want you to answer that question, but at the same time, I also want you to tell me who's out there grinding the most and the hardest.
I mean, they're all grinding. I mean, look, Cody, Cody's got the field right down the street from his house. Jeremy lives with him. So they're constantly ASG. They're doing the weeknight games that they're playing in. They're doing, I mean, Cody lives paintball, right? And so does Grayson. I think everyone's grinding. The good thing, I think, for me, the fact is, look, like, there is life other than paintball.
Yeah. And
everyone handles it differently, right? But I think that everyone on the team puts in 100% of what they're able to put in. So I really appreciate that about everyone on the team. Devin absolutely grinds he lives up in Sacramento, so he's the only one, and Eric's down in Mexico, but he's up every weekend, and Devin's grinding on our off weekends as well. So I think everyone really grinds, and they really, they put the effort in as well. Like, you can tell they're not showing up late and leaving early. They're there on time before everyone else. And it's literally like, for me, I'm like, okay, I have to call the practice because it's now no longer beneficial, right? It's no longer, and they're still there with their gear on. Like, what are we doing, coach? I'm like, all right, we're good. That was a good day. Right. So, yeah.
Excellent.
Man, I love that, because I think a lot of these teams, Shock is one of them. I think they're playing way too much, where they pass the point of like productivity and real cognitive learning, and they kind of dive bomb. When we're talking about cognitive learning, it includes that muscle memory, right? Where your brain and your body are communicating well, and you pull up and you shoot a shot really well. It's like, okay, that's it, right? And you do it 15 more times is enough, right? You don't have to do it for 5 hours more, right? Like, you're good. Move on to the next thing, keep it engaging. And then at about 3.5 hours, you're done. Like, your brain is no longer functioning well. You've lost all the calories you needed to really play at a high level and learn. Like, playing at the professional level is so much less about the physical things and so much more about the mental, right? Yes. And as soon as we deplete, we're done.
Absolutely. And look, I am all about, like, practicing, like, having that experience of, okay, I'm tired and I'm playing and I'm still playing, right? That's how you feel in the finals.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want you beat down, like, completely exhausted, hurt, injured, and still like, you got to run more. You got to run 5 more drills. Like, no, like, exactly what your point. Like, there's a point at which, like, where it's productive and it helps you, and then to become a better paintball player, and then a point where it's just not
grinding gears.
Yeah.
If you look at the math, if you play all the way through on Sunday, it's an hour of paintball.
Yeah.
It's an hour, right? Where you're playing 5 of your roster, and maybe it's the same 5, but the reality is maybe it's not, right? You might play 6, 7 guys throughout the day, but it's an hour of paintball, right? So the most grueling day of paintball we play is an hour of paintball. So I think a lot of the like training methodologies I see from a lot of the teams, it's just, it's too much, right? It's just too much. Like,
and they don't think about recovery, right?
Yeah.
Because especially if you grind like that on a layout weekend, and then your guys are just tore up by Sunday afternoon, exhausted, dehydrated, all these different things. You're going to give them 2-3 days to recover to go play the event. It's not enough.
No,
and fly, right? You're going to fly, which is also going to dehydrate you more. Anyway, I love that because I think a lot of coaches are always more.
Yeah.
Right.
Which I just don't think that's a great idea. Anyway, sorry.
Let's get this question. I saw you started earlier, Ryan. Let's throw this up to Coach from J Principato 58. Coach, did you have any pushback with the guys 2 months before Tampa, or did they see your vision for the team right away?
I had 0 pushback from them. One thing, the fact is, I don't know what the series standing was going into this year. It was not high. It was 18th or something. So if someone comes in with confidence, and I pretty quickly gained confidence in the guys. I saw their ability. So I think when you have someone that comes in and says, look, we can do better, we can be better, and I can help accomplish that. I think they really actually appreciated that, and we're completely on board. So that for me, that was kind of like the last thing that I needed to feel comfortable for the entire season. I had already committed, so it was, but it was okay. This will actually be an enjoyable season, and I had way less stress about anything moving forward. So,
Opie, they were actually 19th place, and they were 81 points away from relegation.
That's right.
That's where the team ended last season. I mean,
you can't be in a worse spot.
Yeah, I thought they were 18th, right? So 18th, because then 19th would have been Extreme, and then Energy, right? And Energy.
No, remember Extreme right at the end there.
That's right. They
with double points.
Right. Yep.
Yeah, because they played each other.
That's right. So it swapped. Okay.
Yeah, or them and Leverage played each other, which gave NYX a bunch of points for the double thing.
And that was some
volumes, though.
Right, it does.
Yeah, and look, I wanted them to know, look, I'm all in, and I believe in them, and it can be tough, like when you're in your head about results, right? So that was kind of a thing that I wanted to impress on them is, like, don't worry about the results. Don't worry about last year where you finished up. Like, this is a new year. This is a team that has a lot of talent and ability, and let's work and help each other and do the best that we can, right? And if we do that, then I'm confident. I'm not here to be, look, I've never been a loser in anything in my life. I don't want to be a loser. So I'm not here to placate or be like, okay, let's just do the motions, and then we're losers again, right? Like, I'm
right.
Yeah, we'll hope.
Yeah.
We'll hope.
I'm going to do everything in my power. And hopefully, and it's great because, other than a couple guys on the team, I didn't know them well. So, sometimes it can be hard. Like, all right, here's my vision, and everyone needs to get on board with it and really have that belief. And then it's easy. One person could be like, who are you, old man? Like, what have you done in the last 15 years or whatever it is?
All the time.
Right. So it's easy for that. And I was like, please don't let me be in that. No, everyone, it's honestly, like, it's been way more pleasurable and fulfilling than I could have even thought. The guys have been great.
That's great to hear, Opie. That's great to hear. And it's
showing.
That's
fantastic.
It's starting. It's showing. And I really do wish you the best of luck and hope that the trajectory stays the same. Of course, unless you land in front of the Jungle Cats.
Exactly.
I'll still shake your hand and give you a hug after the match, but
absolutely.
So I love it, man. It's great. That's fantastic. I do have one fun question. Ryan actually came up with this one. I think it's kind of a fun question.
AI came up with it.
Okay.
Oh, did it? Okay. Mm-hmm. If you could take one player from any of your previous rosters, Dynasty, Revo, Arsenal, and drop them into this roster, who do you think fits best?
Jeez.
Yeah, putting you on the spot, man. AI is the devil. I've been saying that forever.
Okay, so the first two events, well, definitely this last event, I felt like there wasn't a lot of ability to get where you needed a super creative player. You could game plan it, but having a super creative, like, middle, like, guy that could go up the middle, or that was very versatile that could really just in a set, like, I have a couple guys that are definitely creative players and make stuff happen, but there's like that next level of, like, where you watch someone and it's like the game, it cannot be broken open, right? Like, I'm not even talking about pulling games out, but it's just like they're always there in the game, and they're that competitor where you're never getting an easy kill on them, and then they will also just go and, like, gun switch, like, magically for them somehow, and then, like, they're shooting loaders, running full speed, shoot loaders, like the perfect move where you're like, wow, that was amazing, right? That is a player that I would want on the team. So I guess, is it players that I've played with and coached? Is it players that?
Yeah, make it that.
Okay, so I mean, give me Oliver Lang. I think, I would give me Ryan Greenspan, give me Oliver, give me Alex, give me Yosh, and then give me my guys now. Give me Stephen O'Mara and Elliot Weaver. Like, I loved coaching them on, obviously O'Mara went to Ironman for a year, but I loved coaching both of them. They're amazing players. Archie Barnes is a weapon, right? Literally, I would take, we have 8 guys on Aftermath, right? And and they asked me, they're like, well, like, who would we want to pick up? And I'm like, well, look, they have to be, to go from 8 to 9 players. Like, I'm happy with all 8 players. All 8 players are playing, and they're all playing well. So, and I have belief in them. As a coach, it gets tough when you start, the bigger the roster you have, the tougher it is as a coach to manage the, manage the egos, the lines, the plays, all that. It gets more complicated. I'm like, just give me 5 dudes. That makes it easy on me, right? Like, right. So, for me, I'm not looking. So it's funny you asked that question. There's so many players I would love to have on this team. But I also recognize that, as a team, there's limitations, right?
Sure.
So yeah, I mean, look, Ryan Greenspan when he's healthy, I mean, yeah, give me that.
He's all right.
Yeah.
He's all right.
Now,
The
I
guy's
mean,
okay.
if I can start stealing your players, then that adds more like players in the mix, right? Like I have,
Come get him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
it's just like, yeah, like like if it's the people you've played with, as opposed to like the entire league, yeah, I think there are, there's a lot of players that I think would fit well into the system and that would improve the team. I think overall, if you're a good player and you're fitting into a system, you're going to add improvement to the team. And I think it's less the system and more first and foremost how people interact with the rest of their team, right? Like really having that team camaraderie and having each other's backs. I think that's really caring about the people on your team. I think that's probably the most important thing. And then you add in everything else. Then you can add, you add in everything kind of trickles down from there, right? Mm-hmm. Because if you care about your team, you're not going to be that guy that's like, doing their own thing, not being a team player. So then it just automatically kind of fits in. I mean, I don't really know any of the Jungle Cats guys, but I feel like everyone that's played for you has been that, especially on, I mean, on Hurricanes, I was like, this is a team, right? And same thing with Red Legion. I'm like, this is a team. This isn't like guys going out there like cool. It's cool to have fun. Like everyone, we're in this to have fun, right? But there's a different level of like we're running around with no real direction, and you have, everyone on the team should have that, should know this is our culture and this is what happens. It's not just like, oh, I'm going to be off talking to whoever until 5 minutes before a match and everyone's like, where's so-and-so, right? Mm-hmm. Like that wouldn't happen on your teams, right? And I see that stuff happen on some other teams and I'm like, well, I'm not saying that team can't go far in an event, but overall they won't be successful with that type of,
the sustainability probably isn't there.
Exactly.
I like the answer to your Mike's question was positional need, because if there was one critique I could give to Aftermath, and it's interesting, I felt like I've done this 5 times in the last week, is you guys have 0 center threat.
Right.
You're like for us to game plan for you guys, you're making it easier on us because we don't have to worry about the middle of the field. We just have to isolate those edge guys and then let Kirill or Sergey do what they do in the middle of the field, and then we can counter on an edge, right?
Right.
So I love that you kind of went positionally with that. I think that's and I 100% agree with you. Like if you guys had a really good middle threat, you would be much more and your edge guys would be like the opportunities. Yeah, they would get.
It creates more opportunities when you force multiply with that threat.
And look, there's there are a few guys in the league that are just automatic force multipliers, right? Like and if you could have them on your team, they're an immediate and instant improvement, right? Like you have someone like a Malloy, right, in the snake, like give me that dude so I don't have to worry about that guy can just win like a bunch of games in the snake. I never have to worry about the snake. I can focus on these other parts of the field and play off of it instead of it makes it easy when, and sure, there are going to be times, okay, he gets shot, whatever. right? But for the most part, he's doing so much more. He's having so much more of an impact than the players across from him, right? Where people have to, now they are pulling guns this way. They have to game plan and put extra emphasis on him, which then lets somebody like a Karslev or up the Doritos or a Kirill up the middle. It makes it so much easier, right? And if the fact is, if you're losing on a side every single point, and you have to try to get super creative in other areas of the field, it really affects the game plan and strategy, right? So it's a lot of times, like the first two events of this year, the Tampa was way different. I mean, we utilized the middle, I think, fairly well in Tampa. We weren't super dynamic up there, but I felt like we did a pretty good job, and I felt like the middle was not strong in this event, in the sense that it wasn't worth it wasn't for us, wasn't worth pulling a body from somewhere else on to do something that wasn't super effective, right? Like,
sorry.
Yeah, so that's kind of like, so absolutely. I think overall, people look at a certain position, and they kind of look at it individually instead of as an overall
holistically. Sure.
Right. Shit. If I could play with if I could play 6-on-5, like, you better believe I'm throwing that guy up the middle to do right. So it's overall, I think, and that's what's interesting with seeing, okay, what is this coach like? What is this team like? What are they really?
Sure.
What do they feel is effective, right? And that's where you get the matchups, right? And and that's what makes the sport super interesting. So
we found the middle in Dover not necessarily to be utilized because it was super powerful, but because of what the crosser had to do to deal with him, and now what new space it made available to the guy outside of him.
Yeah,
right?
created opportunity.
So it wasn't necessarily like we're going to go to the brick and we're going to shoot a bunch of people,
right?
Or we're going to be able to hold something, as much as now the guy, if he goes into the snake 2 on the cross, he's got to deal with that guy, and then Karslev or Eddie could go as far as they wanted, right? We were using it more of like a decoy.
Right. It was a create opportunity and a paranoia.
Yeah.
Right.
I completely agree, and I get it. And I'll be honest, if I would have loved to utilize the middle more. We went heavy up the middle against Tauntauns after we got down points, and it was as far as a strategy and game plan, it was effective. We didn't technically capitalize on it. So, again, there's so many facets of paintball that, you can talk about every little thing that, there's so many more variables, I think, than most other sports. Right.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
And for me, other than, I feel like even in the matches that we won, I felt like we were a little inconsistent on the wires. We would have a great game in the snake or up the Doritos, and then we would have a game where there were mistakes made. And what happens is, if you lose one of those sides, you give them that free kill in the middle.
Yeah.
Right. So for me, I felt like it was better strategically to have that person wide than and helping, kind of, giving that help than committing that person. And there were absolutely, it was, you can't go in the middle. Please do. If the situation is correct, this is how the game is unfolding. We had automatic. If this happens, we're automatically in there, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't that I didn't like the middle. I just, in Dover, I liked my guys being wider and being able to adjust from those positions, as opposed to being
right.
stuck.
You're going to lean into your strengths and capabilities and attributes of your team. So that makes perfect sense to me.
And ultimately, that's the way the two teams that played the finals played, right?
Yeah.
They both played in a horseshoe.
Yeah.
So I think Nick kind of played the middle a little bit, but I think when it started to fall apart, they sort of pulled back from that. But
and look, it was weird. I felt like Friday nobody played the middle. Nobody, obviously, there were some teams. I mean, you guys played the middle the entire event.
Yeah.
You guys are a top team. Okay, so when teams see you do something, and for them to think I can do this and have the same results, that is a
fallacy.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, and we saw what happened to other teams that tried that weren't on the same level, that tried doing the same stuff. It didn't work. It didn't work well when they played. The fact is, at the end of the day, the best teams were there at the end, right? And there were definitely, I don't know, there was probably 5-6 matches throughout the entire event that I felt like could have gone a different way if a different strategy had been implemented. And other than that, I felt like the best team won. By the end of the event, things had been adjusted, and people had done some different things, and that's how it's going to be, right? But I felt like in-game adjustments, I didn't see a lot of teams making really good, smart in-game adjustments, as far as that I can really remember. There might have been. I feel like the non-adjustments that I saw was something that would stick much more in my mind. Like,
Damage certainly made a pretty amazing adjustment at halftime. Goodness gracious.
I will absolutely give Damage. I was gonna say, like, Impact made a great adjustment, but that was more like day to day, right?
Right.
Correct.
Yeah, obviously that's the thing with the best teams, right? They adjust. So, there were other teams I was like, man, I like, at least try this, right? Like, this is absolutely worth the adjustment. If it doesn't work and the other team, like, they counter adjust, or they're just playing better paintball, or they have that, little extra luck on, this person gets bounced and this person doesn't, or this flag gets thrown here. Like, it's paintball, right? So you have all this stuff always happening. So you can't rely, like, the people that are like, oh, well, we need, this has to happen. Like, all this stuff is going to end up working out at the end of the day. Like, you're either going to win or you're going to lose. Sometimes you get some breaks, sometimes you don't. That's paintball. You live with it. And it's, how did you play the entire game? And how did you, like, what adjustments did you make, if any, right? Like, at least, like, it being able to, whether you can implement it or not, if you can identify it and say, we're gonna try it, this is what we feel the adjustment is, right? and you do that. And if you can't, and if it doesn't work and you're not able to implement it, whether it's because of the other team does a counter to that adjustment, or you just don't have the personnel to do it, then that's a different conversation. That's something else you have to address, right? But if you address it and you try, then now you're getting, like, I feel like you're kind of getting to that next level of, like, okay, this is how we need to at least approach the game if we want to improve overall.
Right.
Yeah, like not making the adjustment because of the risk factors is choosing to lose.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, you're just making a decision right there. We're done here, right?
Yeah.
Like, you guys pack it up. Let's get the 4 granola bars and let's go to the house. Like, we're done, right? Yeah, it's I love the way you said that. Yep. And I think it's important too, especially with a group like yours, make a lot of mistakes. Like, it gives you opportunities to go back to ASG and work on all that stuff. It's like, hey, here's the barrier that was in this match. Here's the barrier that was in this match. Let's go home and drill it. Set the same layout up, drill it out, right? Figure out some solutions. Like, great. Now we have some solutions we can file away, and they'll know the next time you're in a situation like that, remember how we did it right, a few times, but also remember how you did it wrong. Don't do that again. Let's make new mistakes, right? I love that, man. Awesome. I don't have any more questions.
I'm good. I think this has been I think this has given people a lot of insight, Opie, into how you think. I think you've explained things very, very well. And I think people now understand why Aftermath is showing a new life.
Well, and look, I really appreciate it, guys. And honestly, like, I haven't been super vocal since I've kind of been back in paintball, right? Obviously the people that know me well, they know what I'm about. But I think that, especially with kind of how long I was out of paintball, there's a lot of people that are in paintball that probably know nothing about me. And I'm not, I'm not an egotistical or public person that, I'm not out there like, look who I am. Right. But
I feel you on that one, brother.
But at the same time, like at some point, like, you're like, well, I do have some stuff to, like, that I feel like
share.
Exactly.
Yeah, of course, man.
So that's
that's not egotistical, right? That's you being of service, right, to the sport and the community. And again, like, as Mike and I started talking about doing this show, and I kind of forced him into it in a really fun way. I had Matty Marshall literally, like, accost him in the booth during a match, right? Like, hey, Mike, I heard you and Ryan are starting a new show together. And that's kind of how the show came about. But it was the idea came from this servant's mentality, right? It's like, I've been in paintball for 33 years and I've gotten so much from it. And this is just a really simple, kind of silly way that we can give back. But then also it gives us an opportunity to hang out for an hour and a half or so every week and talk to interesting people like you, and then provide some resources and stuff to the coaching world, because there aren't any, right? Like, I remember the first couple of events that I coached in 2006 and 2007. And I was like, how do you do, like, I don't even know what this means to coach, right? Like, I kind of tell you where to go, and, like, we're going to do some training stuff, but I don't even really know what training is. Like, I don't, like, and there were no resources, right? So, like, I could call Bob, right? And he would yell at me, you already fucking know how to do this, and which is zero help, right? So there was just, like, there was no resources. And now and you said this kind of at the top of the show, like, especially for divisional teams, a coach is critical, right? You coming into Aftermath, and this is what I believed happened. There had been an absence of real leadership on that team And I believe for more than 1 year, right? Like when David Ramirez was there, he really was kind of the leader, right? He was the guy kind of putting the pieces together. He would pull his pack off, set his gun down, start helping coach. So when David left, it left this void, right, of real leadership. I bet you when you got there, those guys, like, it was probably a ton of relief, right? And they couldn't wait for direction, right? Like, please give us good, solid direction so that we can fall into some sort of line. Because for so long they've been rowing like a Viking ship where everybody's going at a different tempo, right? The thing's going like that, right? And now Aftermath really looks like it has a solid direction. It's obviously got a great leader who's, holding the rudder. And I really like that team, and I like a lot of the guys on the team. So I want to see them do well, right? Yeah. And I'm excited for you. I'm excited for them. I hope it's long lived and you guys continue to have, forward momentum success. The reality is, are you probably going to make a Sunday for the rest of the year? Who knows, right? It's really fucking hard. The league is tough, but you're making progress, right? Like when, whether you want to like toot your own horn or not, I'll do it for you. Like when guys like us are looking at the team, and Rich Telford even, and looking at the group and saying, yeah, they look different, right? Like people who know what it's supposed to look like, they know. Yeah. Right. And so when we see it, we start making comments. For you, it should make you at least stick your chest out a little.
I mean, that's the highest compliment I can get. Right. Like,
yeah, when your peers. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So congratulations, man. Keep the hard work up. And we appreciate you, man, taking an hour and a half, hour and 40 minutes on your boat and letting us pick your brain for a while.
Absolutely. It's been a pleasure.
You want to thank sponsors?
HK, ASG, Eclipse. All them.
Right.
Well played. Well done.
Sounds good. We'll see you soon, pal. Enjoy Miami.
Yeah, thank you. See you guys soon.
Take care, brother. Love it.
It's a fun show.
It is. Yeah. I'm envious of the boat, first of all, but what a great positive story and attitude. We probably could have talked about a lot of that stuff really well. We know what would have been cool is if we were all three sitting on the boat, enjoying.
Yeah, that would have been way cooler.
Some beverages and just chatting, and then we could have recorded it and then posted it. That would have been the way to go.
I did want to answer this. Hey, Danielle,
I was starting to answer it in the comments.
Yeah, I don't.
I'm glad you brought it up.
I don't know that there's really like a perfect roster size because of the pod limit. I think your roster size is dictated on your players, right?
That's what I started to say. I said, with or without the pod limit, I like the idea of, people always want to pick a number. And I'm like, well, what's your depth look like? So I really feel like if you really had to have a number, I think a lot of people would say 8 is a great number. You got those 5 stars, then you have the depth with the 2 wires, and then you've got that insert player that you can move around. But I genuinely do believe with depth and injury and understudy and capability, and as long as you build the right culture, doesn't matter how many you have, as long as everybody understands that it's about the team and not the individual, doesn't matter. If you have that type of culture, you can have 12, you can have 10, you can have 6.
That's like with us. We have 10, right? And at the majority of the events, we play 7, right? The last event, we did play 9 total. Right. So actually, everybody got to play. Yeah, everybody did get to play. Danny went in, I think, 2 points. So, but there's no perfect roster size. It just completely dependent upon what's in your arsenal.
I had 10 at this event, and I told 7 of them, right? 5 of them were my starters, and I told another 2 that, hey, there's a good percentage. You're probably going to see some points. Those 2 didn't end up really seeing a lot of points. So it's really dependent on the situation, how the practice went, what kind of what performance you're getting out of people. Just because those other 3 that didn't play doesn't mean they're bad players. It just means this wasn't their moment, right? And they were struggling with the layout, and they're struggling with the role. And when that's happening, they take one for the team, and they become the best teammate in the pit, and they try and help them. Hey, this is what we saw from here. Maybe next time look for this, and they help clean them up, pot them up. And they're ready the minute I call their name, though.
Yeah.
So,
right.
So that's a good question, Daniel.
Want to answer this one too. In the pit says, along those lines, this is when we were talking about training methodology. Would you suggest divisional teams play local one-day events, train more intensely? The answer is no, because the majority of those one-day events are on a blind layout anyway.
Right.
I think you should spend more time working on individual skills and less team skills. And that goes for every divisional team. Yeah. Below D2. Spend more time working on individual skills and less time trying to create a giant code library and get better individually.
I do feel like this is a topic that's come up a lot. If you're going to take the time and establish specific codes, right? Whether it's 1 page, 8 page, doesn't matter. If you're going to take the time to develop the codes, use the codes during a match, right? Use them at practice and then use them at the match. Use the codes. So anyway, I'll say that.
How many times do you see people though, even like they'll say, yeah, we have a code for that. And I'm like, man, I've been here for a day. I haven't heard that one time.
Haven't heard you say it once.
Guy's been in that bunker. We've been in that exact same scenario like 7 times. I've not heard you call that code one time.
Exactly.
So maybe let's not do the code. Let's just call it what it is. Yeah, let's not use the code. Let's just call it this. Just say this is happening.
Just scream, scream. Hey, do this, please.
Stupid code book.
Yeah. Stupid.
There was one other thing. Size around the format and pod limitation and more so playing style. Maybe. Yeah, maybe. Yeah. I still think it just has to do with your players themselves. I think 100%. Regardless of the format. I
think it has to do with your camp and your talent.
Yeah. Like we could play the same 5 guys throughout the entire tournament and not skip a beat. But that's not necessarily the best way. Right. Like we do want to rotate 7 to 8 guys just from a scouting perspective.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know that the format really dictates. I mean, obviously if it's 10-man, you need at least 10 guys. So the format would make a difference there.
Math.
So
logic.
All right. I think that's it.
Yeah.
Let's go to bed.
Let's go to bed. I'm glad you're
starting back to the gym tomorrow finally. Yeah, because I feel good. So I'm going to start going back. I haven't been to the gym since the Tuesday before the Dover event. Yeah.
I am now, I'm dealing with some stuff myself. So trying to, change that routine. I do this every year, and I was like, all right, time to get disciplined again. No more motivation, all discipline. So here we go. So anyway.
Yeah. I would have loved to have gone to the gym. I was so sick.
Yeah.
I was so sick. I did want to take a second too and just say, thank you to everybody who reached out. The few of you that kind of knew what was going on with my family. It means a great deal that you took a moment to shoot me a message and check on it. It was a really hard week last week, but really good now. Everything's good. So yeah, man.
I didn't think it was anyone's business, so I didn't tell anyone. I just kept saying prayers.
I appreciate that. Yeah, there were a few people that on my way out kind of had seen me on Saturday and said, hey, man, noticed you were a little disconnected yesterday. You good? So, which meant a lot. So, all right, guys. Thank you to Major League Paintball, Major League Paintball Plus, Kevin Fillers, Tom Cole, Darren Sessna, and Amanda Maltz. Thank you to our sponsors, brand new sponsor, virtuepaintball.com. They are built to win, virtuepb.com. Max Sportswear and BKI. What am I forgetting? Oh, next week. Hoping Kyle Spica.
Yeah.
I'm hoping Kyle Spica. We'll see.
That's the plan. Kyle Spica is supposed to be on this.
I will be literally flying in from Boston and like rolling into the studio right on time.
It's funny you mention that. I might actually be rolling in as well. So
maybe it'll be the following week.
It might be.
We'll see. Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, we really want to get Kyle on. He's got a brand new site that does some really fun stuff with some cool statistics on it.
Mm-hmm.
So we're gonna talk about that, and but maybe not next week, maybe the following week.
Maybe.
Nonetheless, thank you guys so much for joining us tonight. Thank you to Opie for giving us his time this evening as well. For Mike Bianca, I'm Ryan Gray. As always, be responsible.